all right, all right. Welcome to a new week. Welcome to a new day. Welcome to the Empowered Morning Show, where it is a beautiful day to be empowered. Ladies, how are y'all this morning?
Thriving, alive and thriving.
Alive and
Yes.
thriving. Okay, come on
It
with it.
it's
I
a
love it. I
beautiful
love it. I love it.
day. I'm telling you, if when as soon because I'm sure nobody has been outside yet, but as soon as you get a chance, step outside. It is gorgeous out. Like it is so beautiful. God's creation that He created. Oh, that first thing in the morning. It if you feeling a little down, step outside. It'll give you a glow.
To give you a glow and give you that boost that you need to get your day
Mm-hmm.
started. So, yay. Look, thank you, God, for waking us up this morning and for keeping us
Amen.
throughout this
Yes,
day.
Lord.
Because every day, listen, this is the day that the Lord has made. We're going to rejoice and be glad in it. So, good morning, Miss Phyllis. Good to see you this morning. Miss Patricia, good to see you as well. Miss Patricia says, let's turn things around this Tuesday. Turn it
Let's do
around
it.
and
Let's
around
do
and
it.
around. What they say, turn a frown upside
Upside
down and
down.
make a smile. You know,
Yes.
if you were in a bad mood when you feel like you get up on the wrong side of bed, get back on it and roll over and come out on the other side.
Come out on the other
Come
side.
out
It's
on the other
like,
side. That's all you
I don't know
gotta
what you have going on this side today, but I'm going to roll on over and come out on a different
do.
side.
Roll over and
We
come out on the
probably
different
need to
side.
do that. Everybody has a side of the bed that is their side, right? That you
Yes,
get in
yes.
it, you get out. It's even people that sleep alone. Even though I sleep all over the bed,
Mm-hmm.
I still get in on one side. I
Good
promise
morning,
you, if
Paula.
if y'all could see my bed in the
Good
mornings,
morning, Cynthia.
you would think who was in the bed with her? Like who? Well, I
Mm.
start off because I sleep sideways. Any people that sleep like this, so
That's all right.
we probably need to do some. If you got to work one way, go another way. Go another way today. Today you looking for a new way, new direction. Just don't do
But the
exactly how
choice
you
is
normally do.
yours. The reality is, it is up to you to decide what your day is going to be like. So be great, be amazing, be fabulous, be wonderful. Switch that thing around, but do it on purpose. Whatever you do, you choose. If you are in a funky mood this morning, you know what? Look at yourself in the mirror and say, what we're not going to do is do that. What we're not going to do is have a bad day. So we're going to switch it around. Whether you get back in that bed and roll over onto the other side, whether you say, you know what, I'm going in a different direction, or whether you just say, you know what, I ain't changing nothing but my attitude. And it's going to be a great day.
Amen.
Whatever that looks
Amen.
like, let's make
Whatever
that
that
happen.
looks like.
Whatever it looks like for you, do what you need to do to get you in the best mood you can possibly be in, because this is the day. And to be honest, we don't know if it's our last day. So
We
why would you
we
start
don't.
any day rough and off and whatever? Because your circumstances don't dictate the kind of day that you need to have. You always have a choice. Life is about choices. So
Yeah.
choose this day who you're going to serve, how you're going to move, what your attitude is going to be like. Somebody come to you crazy, not today, you're not.
Not today.
Sorry, not today. They can call you and say, you know what, let's table this conversation for another time, because it doesn't seem like your mood matches mine. And so, have a good day.
Mm.
Love you. Bye. And go on about your business. You
And tell
choose
go
that.
and let them
Good morning,
know. And
Kelly.
tomorrow, if you come with that same attitude, I'ma table it again. So
Block. It's gonna be the block once again. Once again.
I
Because
love
being
what Phyllis says though. Miss
oh,
Phyllis said, "Love come out on the other side."
yes, come out on the other side. So when we talk about all this, now something is wrong with my eye, y'all. I feel like it's but at any rate, don't let it distract you, because it ain't gonna distract me. But we talked about
You
girl,
might need to take that contact out and
girl,
put
it
it
is
back
because
in
it's about to
again.
drive me crazy. However.com. When we talked about all this, that's boundaries. Boundaries. So Natasha, pick it up. I'm gonna have to go get it out. But
Go
Natasha,
take
yeah.
it.
You better see that vision is
Let me
already
set my,
turning
I know,
around.
right? Let me set my boundary and get on out of here. Natasha, go ahead and take it on.
Go. We're gonna let her go for a minute. But boundaries are real. Boundaries also go with just a little tweak that I would like to talk about to Natasha about
Mhm.
boundaries. boundaries in your thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean,
Even your thoughts, you have to decide to have a boundary in that thought.
agreed.
Because if you don't set a boundary, just like everything else, it's disrespectful. It's gonna attach to another thought, and then that thought gonna attach to another thought. Now you over here acting all out of character. All you ready to fight? You ready to go off from a thought?
Yeah, I mean, with everything that we're talking about, I agree with that. So I think, for those that listened to the show last week, boundaries are about what we need, right? So when you're thinking about mentally, I have to think about mentally what I need. I love what Angela had said earlier about if I interact with someone and our mood aren't isn't aligned, then I'm going to get off this phone call, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to engage in this. I'm not going to have this interaction, and that's a boundary, right? The mental thoughts. You can choose to say I'm going to have a bad day. I can choose to say that this day, quote unquote sucks, or this day is bad, right? You can choose to do that, or you can put up a mental boundary for yourself and say, you know what? We're not doing this today. We're not going down that road today. I'm not going to be thinking negatively today. I'm not going to allow negativity into my space, right? Because I need fill in the blank.
Yeah.
And so I think that's a really important thing when we think about boundaries. So many people think of boundaries as for somebody else, right? So when they hear the word boundary, it's like, I've got to set up these parameters for the things outside of me. And I want people to remember that boundaries is about what you need, even for yourself.
It's a
So not
need.
just it's a need, not just what you need in the relationship with other people, but what you need in relationship with yourself, what you need in relationship with God. One of the boundaries that we covered last week was spiritual boundaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have to have spiritual boundaries in making sure that, people's opinion of God or what they believe to be true about God doesn't influence what you know to be true and believe to be true about God,
Mm-hmm.
right? Everybody has a right to believe, everybody has a right to study the word, but I'm not here to tell you you have to believe it my way. You need to study the word yourself. You need to have your experiences, and there needs to be boundaries with that. But I always say everything starts with your mental. So I agree with you 1,000% that you have to start with making a decision of what you want to think about, how you want to think about it, when you want to think about it, right? All those things matter. Everything starts with us. And
Yeah.
if you don't start your day grounded, if you don't start your day in a positive way, your brain is going to take off, 90 miles a minute, right? It's just going to take off and do whatever it wants to do. And that's where we then allow our thoughts to dictate our lives and dictate, how we manage our day. Because again, your thoughts are tied to your feelings, and your
Mm-hmm.
feelings are tied to the way that you behave, right? So I agree with you on that 100%.
Yeah, it's when I think about boundaries sometimes when somebody comes to you and say, "Sparkle, they was just talking about you over there. They said this and they said that." A boundary that I set is okay. I mean, like you cut that cord, because if you put it in your process and you don't set a boundary of I don't even receive negative conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Don't bring
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what somebody said, what they did. Like, don't bring this to me, because I'm gonna block it into my away from my mind gate, because people don't understand what people really are facing every day. So if
Agreed.
I let whatever you're going through come to me, now it's gonna see nothing ever works for everybody. You see how life be life, and before you know it, y'all sit here having a whole trash down, tear down whole session that now you got to get it out of you. It's like so much work. So why not build the boundary so you don't have to work so hard?
I mean, I'm trying to figure out how to contextualize this. So we wake up in the morning and you start with your thoughts. And this is where I always say we should start our day with God, right?
Mm-hmm.
You seek God and let God's word be the thing that lifts you up. You allow God's word and who God is and who you believe God to be to set your mind in motion for the day.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't allow God's word to enter your mind, then you're starting your day and leading your day out with your flesh, right? So without that boundary, we run the risk of, thinking, I hate to use the word crazy because it's a poor choice of words, but we're out here just thinking whatever we want to think and feeling whatever we want to feel. And like we talked about last week, many of us don't like to deal with our feelings. And if you're not dealing with your feelings, then you're out here not in alignment with God. There's so many of us that talk about having a relationship with God, but we're not in alignment with God. And I think it's really important that we understand that we have the power to choose. We are the ones that get to set those boundaries. We are the ones that get to the ball moving in the morning. And if we're too busy in life to take time out to align with God, then we're just setting ourselves up for, I hate to use the word failure, but we're setting ourselves up for a whole lot of disappointment in our day.
Yeah. It's so funny that you're saying that, because the daily devotion is protect your peace. Peace I leave with you. John 14:27. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give you. I do not give it to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid. Peace is not passive, it's power under control. When you protect your peace, you protect your purpose. Every time you say no to chaos, you're saying yes to clarity.
Amen. Amen. And in the Jesus Calling today, it's something very similar, but it talks about needing, it says, I want you to know how safe and secure you are in my presence. It says, totally independent of your feelings, you are on your way to heaven. Nothing can prevent you from reaching that destination. There you will see my face, and your joy will be off the charts by earthly standards. He says, even now you are never separated from me, though you must see me through the eyes of faith. So again, getting up every morning and setting your attentions and focusing on God, and not focusing on what you think you need to do today. And I got to get to work, and I got to do this, and I got to do that. You are setting yourself up for disappointment when you start your day with what you think you need to do for you rather than what you need to do for God. Amen. Right? So again, everything does come back to that mindset. So I agree with you 100% with we setting those boundaries mentally first, because that sets the stage for how we live in our day.
And I know I stepped away for a moment, so I'm not sure what y'all covered in that period. But Natasha, how is it, say for instance, when we're talking about setting tone for the day and setting our boundaries and everything, and making sure that your mindset is set towards that? I want people to also understand that sometimes getting your mind right means dealing with those emotions. Sometimes you need to cry. Sometimes you need to get that out before you can, you know what I'm saying? And so isn't that too, the ability to allow yourself to feel whatever it is you need to feel? Because a lot of times we get to a breaking point because we try to suppress the emotions. You are so, trying so hard to be strong and to be there for everybody else and not deal with whatever you're dealing with. Whereas maybe you do need to cry to release the emotions and release some of that pressure and stress. Maybe you do need to scream or yell or do something. Maybe that is helping you to get that off of you so that you can set your tone for your day. Because realistically, if we're still, if you're dealing with something that, whether it's financial responsibilities and you don't know if they're getting ready to repossess your home or your vehicle, or your kid is acting up, or your diagnosis wasn't what you thought it was, or you're going through a breakup, a divorce or whatever, those things, or you're dealing with grief because you lost a loved one. Those things, sometimes we try to act like everything is okay behind closed doors. You're just like all over the place. So wouldn't being able to actually deal with those emotions free you and be a boundary of some sorts to say that, I'm going to allow myself the opportunity to feel these emotions?
100%. I mean, feeling your feelings is the key to liberation. It's the key to emotional freedom. However, when someone has been operating from the survival part of their brain for a really long time, and they're in that fix it mode or rescue mode, or like you said, I'm the strong one and I've got to be the one that's responsible. Believe it or not, it's not that easy. It's not that easy to just say, I'm going to press pause and I'm going to feel my feelings today.
Yeah.
You have so many people that are in very much denial of believing or thinking that emotions is something that we can just somehow shut off and we can still function well in life. And so there's a lot of people that are given the opportunity to feel, and they'll honestly say to you, I don't know what I'm feeling. They can't even identify how they're
Mhm.
feeling. So for a lot of times, it requires people to slow down. It requires people to not have something to be responsible for them to be able to, you know, have to sit with their thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
It's only until you have time to sit with your thoughts, that's when the feelings start to bubble up and you have an opportunity to then give yourself permission to feel. But so many people, the minute that they have a minute to think or the minute that they have to feel, what do? We go and we find something to keep us
Else to do.
distracted.
Yep.
Yeah, we keep ourselves busy. So we are our worst enemy
Yep.
when it comes to that. And it's about us realizing that we need to have the breakdown in order to have the breakthrough. Um, but a lot of people aren't willing and oftentimes not ready to have the breakdown because somehow having my feelings and or expressing my feelings again ties back to childhood issues. We weren't allowed to cry. We weren't allowed to talk about our feelings. Someone made fun of me when I had feelings or whatever
Yeah.
your story or belief may be. You're still carrying that today and not giving yourself permission to have that release. So yes, it's important for us to feel our feelings so we can have the emotional freedom and be free of the emotional weight that we often carry.
Mhm.
But a lot of people need to learn on how to slow down and take a break. And that's where self-care is important, right? Self-care
Right.
and self-love is what we need. And I cannot tell you on a daily basis how many people that I talk to that tells me they don't have time for themselves. That if you don't have time for yourself, who's going to make time for you?
Mm-hmm.
And that's good, Natasha, because there are a lot of people say, "Girl, I ain't got time for that. I don't have time to."
I don't got time.
They
I
don't
don't
have.
got
You
time
don't.
to deal with my feelings today. I'm not dealing
Or you
with
just don't
feelings
have
today.
time to do self-care, whatever that looks like. You know what I'm saying? For some people, it's different things. It might be going, like you say, outside. You may go outside and just look out and go get in the morning and just look at the sunrise or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's
Mm-hmm.
a form of self-care. Some people don't even feel like they have time to, I don't have time to sit down and be still for 20 minutes. I don't have time to, take a drive and just kind of unwind. I don't have time to, go get a massage or go get my even a manicure, pedicure for some people is a form of because they're being still and allowing somebody else to take care of them, or going
Mhm.
And
down
then
the
they
window
feel
to
like
some of
it's
the
gonna
day.
take too long. You like,
Right, exactly. They feel
I
like
don't
I
have
don't
to
have
sit
time to
there
do that.
for
I have too much
hours
to
at a
do.
time.
Exactly.
But
Yes.
but your body tells you when you need it. Like your body will like if you just doing all that, I can't get still. I'm all cushion. Like my brain is everywhere. It's because the brain really saying stop.
Yeah, but now you're stepping into the territory of self-awareness. And a lot of people aren't aware of self, Sparkle. Like you're very self-aware. So like the minute that you're not taking care of yourself, your body will alert you and you will be paying attention to your body and then you're going to respond to it. We've got a lot of people out here that are not self-aware. I have a lot of clients who have medical issues and they go to the doctor and the doctor can't give them a diagnosis and they want a diagnosis. And I'm trying to tell them there's nothing wrong with you other than you not managing your emotional stress. And as a result of you not managing your emotional stress and not being aware of the emotions that you're suppressing and how it's manifesting itself in a physical way, you now want to go to the doctor and get a diagnosis and get a pill and get surgery and do all these things. And it's not necessary. I've had people go to multiple doctors because they want the doctor to give them an answer. And I'm like, when was the last time that you took 10 minutes out of your day to take care of you? That's
Yeah.
the best medicine. That's what you just talked about. I step out on my patio every morning. As soon as the sun rises, I step outside, even if I don't have time because I've got to come to the show or I've got something else to do, just long enough to say, good morning, God. Thank you, God, for waking me up this morning. And you are absolutely right. The minute that I step outside my house and I can just connect with nature, it doesn't take long, guys. It doesn't take long. It takes a few footsteps. So instead of walking to the coffee pot, instead of walking to the bathroom, I walk outside, right? You can't, wherever you're living right now, you can't walk outside. Open a window. I'm sure you got a window in your house somewhere, and stick your head out the window, right? Or just look out the window. It's,
Yeah.
I love when you said,
That's,
Spark,
you know, when people wake up, they open the
and you pull
shades.
blinds. Yeah. There is something very powerful in that. And what you can do is, as you pull the shades back, just stand there long enough, just to look out beyond yourself and appreciate God's creation. It doesn't take us. So you're in the car and you're driving to work, rather than focusing on, oh God, I got to go meet those people again. And oh God, I got to do this. And this is what's on my desk. And instead of looking at that, enjoy the ride. Turn your music on or turn the radio off and just admire.
Just take it in. Take it
For
in.
so many people, y'all, you know what? Society has overwhelmed people to the point
Yes.
where they can't see past looking out the window to say, God, thank you for this beautiful day. They're just not there yet. Even to the point of, and I looked at Kelly, you know, she made the comment, my self-care is gardening or mowing the yard. That's my time with God and myself. And you know
Yeah.
how many women criticize women for mowing the yard and say, girl,
Yes.
I wish I would do this, that, and the other. We have to be
And
so
she got a
mindful
husband,
of
and you know, and
understanding
her
that.
husband make her out there, got her out there
Exactly.
cutting the grass.
You automatically go to the worst case of negative scenario, and sometimes we need to shut our mouths, because the reality is you don't know. She's saying that's her time with God. We have to stop having the audacity to assume that we know what somebody else is doing and why they do it.
Oh, that's good.
Sometimes people do what they do because they need that for themselves. You know what I'm saying? And we feel like there's a right way. There's not a right way or a wrong way. It's a way that does it that is going to help you to be the best version of yourself. And if it means going out here mowing a yard, if it means, you know, walking
She can come to my house
10
any
miles or
day.
running or sitting out on the back or whatever that looks like for you, allow yourself to not let other people turn you away from things, because we're so
Or I'm a little crazy doing this.
Yes, because I mean, how dare we say, girl, she crazy because baby, she got a husband, girl, he don't do nothing. She always out there mowing yard. Come on now. But we do it. And she says, I look forward to my drive to work so I can see all the baby geese on the way. I thank God for all of those sweet babies. I have a 5-minute drive, but I have the sweetest drive.
See, and the beautiful thing is she intentionally take out the time to look at the geese. Like she has a made up mind that it might be just a 5-minute drive, but I'm going to make this 5-minute drive a inhale, exhale moment for my life. Cause somebody else, like I get there so quick, I don't even get time to look around. I don't even know what's going on. It's a 5-minute drive, and I was there before I knew it.
Or someone says
Exactly.
there was geese. I didn't even notice that there were geese
I didn't
there.
even know it was geese. I'm gonna tell you a true story. Like, when people used to say the birds are singing and all that, I used to be like, ain't no birds singing. Like, I mean, what? How you hearing some birds? Because I never took out time to listen.
To be aware.
So now I'm gonna tell people that they crazy because they hearing the bird. No, you crazy because you're not even aware enough to know what's going on around you that you can hear the birds sing.
And it is really simple things, I think, that people don't even think about, or you don't even really know.
Every morning.
Since that they chirp every morning.
Every morning. And it's so beautiful.
And it goes back to being aware of what you need and being aware, because a lot of times we move through life and sometimes there's a sadness and you don't even really know what that is. You just are moving through life. But just like even for me, I realized my oldest daughter has moved out. You know, she's in her own apartment and everything. And so we had something going on. I forgot which event. It may have been the Becoming Her event. I forgot. But anyway, she came by here, you know, changed clothes and everything. And so she left her Crocs. She got some cute little pink Crocs. And she left them, right? Every time I look at those, it makes me smile because it makes me think, oh, is something of my baby that I don't get to see like I used to see. And so every morning when I pass by there, it puts the biggest smile. So I send that to her and say, you know what? Every time I look at those shoes, it makes me smile because it feels like a piece of you is here. I wasn't thinking that I missed her like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, yes, I missed, but she's been gone for a minute. But that simple leaving a pair of shoes just made me think like, that's my baby. I love her.
Yes, it
Sometimes we
does.
have no idea because we don't stop to think. It's business as usual. It's life as usual. But sometimes take the time to listen to the birds, or take the time to look at some green grass or some fluffy clouds, or take the time to go get you some ice cream, or take the time to, just take you a drive and see if you see the ducks and, or the geese or whatever,
Take
Small
that
things
moment.
make a big difference. Honestly, small things. We think things have to be so grand and so huge to impact you, but sometimes it's the simplest thing as, oh my God, I can hear the rain. Let me open my window and I can hear the raindrops, and it's so soothing. Whatever that is, because Cynthia
But
said it's so beautiful. Sing to God.
when you talk about healing for real, take the time to heal.
Yeah.
It's just
Take the
that
time to
simple.
hear.
Take the time to heal. But a lot of people want that healing, or they want whatever it is that they're wanting. They want it right here, right now, and they want it to happen quickly.
Yeah. Because
Right?
they'll do it for 3 days and like, I ain't seen no change. So that ain't gonna work.
Yeah. Oh, I heard those birds chirping and like, okay, we're good now. But you don't realize how day in and day out so it takes 21 days to do something repetitiously to begin to condition and create a new habit. You could either create a new habit, break a habit, 21 days consistently. It takes 90 days for it to set, right? For it to really take root, takes 90 days. So that means, and you don't just do it to do it, you need to be intentional about it. So I'm going to use the bird chirping as a pretty simple example. I'm not going to get up for 21 days and be like, all right, well, Sparkle, told me that I need to go outside and listen to the birds. So I'm listening to the birds. Okay. Because I'm going to tell you right now, in 21 days, it ain't going to do a damn thing for you other than probably less than 21 days. You'll be like, I'm so tired of these birds chirping.
And I'm so tired of hearing Sparkle talk about the
birds, right? Now versus you go outside and you sit, maybe you put down your phone and you sit and you listen to the birds. But in addition to listening to the birds, you let your eyes wander a little bit and you look at nature, or you look around and you just pay attention to what's around you. That's being intentional.
Yes.
You may even find that there are some days, if you really pay attention, the chirp is not the same.
It's not.
It's not the same bird. It's not the same chirp. It's not the same song. They're not singing the same thing every day if you pay attention.
No,
right?
It's not.
And so you learn to appreciate that, oh my goodness, there's different birds. I know for me, there are different birds that show up at my place every day. And I'm like, there are that many birds in this world, first of all, you know what I mean? So that being intentional is so important, because that's what changes the game. And what that does over time, if you decide that let's say one day you don't hear the birds chirping, you will notice.
What happened to the birds? Like, where the birds go?
Yeah, where the birds at?
Right? Natashah?
They do start, at season change. Birds are like, let me go on and go somewhere else.
But you will notice, because you've been so aware of it, that when you don't hear it or see it anymore, you're aware, and you will find that you will miss it, because it's that moment when you are connecting with God's creation. You're not connecting with people. You're not connecting to a to-do list, right?
Yeah.
You're just taking the time for that peace, for that quiet, for that joy. After 21 days, I have my clients tell me, I do a 21-day exercise with them, and they will tell you, when I miss it, I either hear your voice in my head that I need to do it, or I realize like, man, I haven't done it. And they're now eager to get home and just grab that 10 minutes of alone time. Right?
And you know what else, Natashah, for that, when you are intentional about that time, like I'm intentional about going out here, and you say, listening to the birds. When you're intentional and you're listening for the birds, you get the added benefit of other things too. While
Mm-hmm.
you're listening for the birds, you might be like, oh, it smells so good out here. Oh, I didn't know what the bird was doing
Yes.
right there. Oh, I didn't know that. Is that honeysuckle? Oh my God, I haven't smelled honeysuckle since I was a little girl.
Yes.
Oh, you know what? I didn't realize. Oh my God, these clouds are so. You start when you're intentional about one thing, the
It
added
leads
benefit
to,
and beauty of other things can come to you.
yes,
But you got to
Yes.
start somewhere. If all you do is stay in the bed and put the cover over your head because you're depressed, because you're overwhelmed, because you're anxious, then you do a disservice to yourself because you have not allowed yourself to open up to experience anything better, anything
Yes.
different,
You are
anything that
so
can
right,
shift
Angela.
you from my life sucks to, okay, my life is not where I want it to be, but thank God I know that there's other things around me that can help pull me out of that, can help
Yes.
make it better, you know. So now when I'm driving to work, I ain't got to run somebody off the road because they cut me off. So now, you know, because road rage,
Yes.
it's all
Road
a
rage
buildup.
is
So if
real
road
because
rage is
ha-
real,
have you noticed when you're not running behind, you don't have road rage.
you're just easy like, honey, yeah, come on,
You
go
just
ahead, we can go.
gazing, running around. Oh, if you need to get in front of me, you let people in front of you. You're just on a different planet. When you have your music going good, you like, girl, you ain't finna mess up my moment. Like you're intentional about I'm good on time because I intentionally left on time or
so
left
it
before
starts
time.
so it starts with your awareness, and with your awareness you became intentional. So again, it comes all the way back. All of that stuff that we're
Mhm.
talking that rolls out to be really good starts with you being aware of self and you
Yeah,
being intentional with whatever you're doing. You were being intentional with your time, you were being intentional with yourself, so therefore you're not rushing.
Yeah.
And listen, as a single mother and a young mother, I remembered how many times I used to get up, roll out of bed, brush my teeth, my hair was a mess, got to get the kids up, get the kids to school. And I was one of those people where life was just so consuming that I would always say that I didn't have time. But I always say that if you don't make time, time will make you, right?
Yep.
It will keep you in bondage. It will bound you to the world and all the things of this world. And to me, it's all one big distraction to keep me even further away from God.
Yeah.
yes,
Right?
Natasha,
absolutely.
when I went through my bad depression, like depression, Alicia said the way that she knew something was going on is that I didn't wake her up the same.
Mm.
She was like, it was the way you started waking me up. You didn't wake me up with it's this is you wasn't singing and dancing as much as that irritated me and got like irritated me to no ends. When you stopped, I knew something was not right with my mom. Like she was like immediately, that's when I knew something's not right.
Well, and I want to touch on the depression and anxiety thing because it's a word that gets tossed around quite a bit. And people need to understand that depression and anxiety is an accumulation of your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts and your feelings that you've done
Mm-hmm.
absolutely nothing with over a
That's,
course of time,
yep.
right? That is a simple layman's breakdown of depression and anxiety that I can give you. And so when we're talking about self awareness, when we're talking about healing for real, when we're talking about being intentional, I am almost certain that anybody who is struggling with depression and anxiety is hearing this conversation going, y'all don't know how hard it is,
Mm-hmm.
right? Y'all don't
Mm-hmm.
know how hard it is for me to get up in the morning. And I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But it starts with a very simple baby step. Because if you don't put a foot forward, you're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And that
Mhm.
depression just adds another day, just adds to your
It just
depression.
add
Another
another
day
thought.
adds to the anxiety, right? And more buildup. So even if it means you roll out of the bed and you just go outside, that's it. Just roll out the bed. Don't brush your
Mm-hmm.
teeth. Don't wash your face. Don't do your hair. Nothing. Just go outside. Or you're in a room. Pull those shades back, right? Or whatever it is. You turn the TV on. Turn it to something that's positive. Like those
Mm-hmm.
are
Not
little
that
baby
news.
steps. Not the news. Not
Put on a comedy show so you can laugh. Something
Mm-hmm.
that
correct.
releases the
The
endorphins and the
serotonin.
hormone. Yes.
Absolutely. It's the little things. Like you said, we look for these grand gestures. I want to be able to get up and all of a sudden I'm going to feel better. Well, your depression and anxiety didn't happen overnight.
Exactly.
It was something
and
that
them
is
thoughts
building
didn't come overnight.
Correct, because when we talk about the beginning of the broadcast, that we didn't have those boundaries with our own thoughts, so we let those thoughts come in. We held on to those thoughts. We let those thoughts accumulate. Then we let the feelings creep in, and then we let those accumulate. And then all of a sudden, somehow, we thought we were magicians, and we can just push all of that to the side, and that we were going to be okay.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I say that to my clients all the time, right? We magically somehow think that we can go through life and do things and feel things but not really feel it. Like when Angela talks about her daughter and the shoes, because she took that moment to be aware that that was her daughter's shoes, it allowed her to experience that there's feelings in there.
Yeah. And it was from shoes. Like,
it was some
who
shoes.
would have thought some shoes?
Well, some people would have seen the shoe and could have done two things. Either picked them up and put them in a closet and put them away, or look at those shoes and go, I can't believe she's leaving her stuff here, and find a reason to complain about it. Right? Ooh. So when you behave that way, which ties into Sparkle, the way you were waking up your daughter, our behavior speaks volumes.
Amen.
In Angela's case, her behavior in that moment was somebody who was very self-aware. But I can tell you a lot of other people who would see that same pair of shoes and
that is so true.
Either A, leave it there, so that's avoidant, right? Or they're going to pick him up and put him in the closet, still avoidant, dismissive, right? Or they're going to look at them, pick him up, and complain about it, right? And be like, I don't know why she leaves her stuff here. She's been gone for so long. I don't know why. Blah, blah, blah,
Get your stuff. Take your stuff with you.
And that noise is just a distraction, which is even more avoidance. Good. So on all levels, we're just avoiding how we really feel. And we're making it about this person, place, or thing. Right?
Because you're right. People could it could have easily been irritation, like they obviously, because we tend to get irritated. And I was thinking as you were talking a little earlier, Natasha, that for so many people, we internalize the things that happen. Like as children, your parents go through a divorce, you think it's your fault. Yeah. As an adult, if somebody says, this is not working out for me, and then you start thinking, well, what did I do? What was wrong with me? What could I have done to make you treat me like this? I mean, we just always take things too hard to say that personally that it's about me. If somebody lets you go, well, I mean, I thought I was doing my job. Why would you do that? We have so many things that we personalize, when a lot of times things don't always have to do with us. It has nothing to do with you. It's a gift problem. Yes, it's something.
And it was a decision, it was a decision that you had no control of. And we put too much control on ourselves. You had no choice about somebody deciding that they didn't want to no longer be. I mean, you might have had a choice, but a job. You had no other, they decided that they no longer needed you. You wasn't in that meeting, and in the meeting you like, hey, yes you do. No, it was a decision that was made that's out of your control. Now I'm going to decide, you have to make a decision. Am I going to let this beat me down? Or am I going to utilize this to make me a better person? Because just like the shoes, you can take somebody losing a job the same way you could take those shoes.
It's
either I'm going to, it was nice while we was here. I enjoyed the moment. You learned something. Take those talents, and because wisdom, the beautiful thing about wisdom, nobody can take it from you. It's in you.
Right.
Well, that's what I would say with any experience. So it boils down to perspective. I can either look at whatever it is that I'm experiencing, good, bad, and indifferent. I can either find a reason to not appreciate it, complain about it, or I can draw the lesson from it. Right? Especially in those situations. People say, well, why did this happen to me? And why does this always happen to me? There's a reason for it. Have you stopped to maybe learn from that experience? Because maybe if you just learn something from that experience, you won't repeat it. Right? Because a lot of times when we repeat something,
that is so good, Natasha.
Yeah, because we're quick to blame somebody else.
Mm-hmm.
We're quick to
Mm-hmm.
point the finger and be like, oh, well, this one did this to me and that one did that to me. But come back to the power of choice. You allowed it to happen, which this all ties back into boundaries, right? I
Mm-hmm.
have a lot of people that will say to me, my boundaries don't work. Okay. Well, boundaries are yours. And so if boundaries belong to you and a boundary doesn't work, who's responsible for the boundary not working?
Mm-hmm.
Not the other person. You are responsible for upholding that boundary. So if boundaries are ineffective, they're not working with your loved ones, that two things are happening. A, you don't understand what a boundary is, right? Because a lot of people believe boundaries are meant to punish. People use
Mm.
boundaries as a way to control a particular outcome. We use it as a reward and consequence. That is not what a boundary is. And so those would be the times when boundaries are ineffective, right? If you
Mm-hmm.
want a boundary to work, that means you are recognizing you are self-aware, you are aware of what you need, you are asking for what you need, and when the people in your life aren't able to respect what you need, then you're going to come through and stand up for yourself. Kind of like
Mm-hmm.
Sparkle, when you say that I'm not going to allow the negativity to come into my life, and the minute that somebody wants to bring gossip to me, I'm going to shut it down. That is you making a choice to say that I don't live that life anymore, and I'm not going to allow anybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're a pastor. I don't care if you're the pastor's wife. I don't
Yes.
care if you're
A
my neighbor.
title doesn't determine.
Correct. It doesn't change anything. This is who I am. I don't want the noise. I love you to pieces, but if you're going to bring the noise here, you're going to have to turn right back around and go somewhere else with that noise because I'm not going to allow that here.
Yeah.
That is very, very healthy for a human being because that means you're very aware of who you are. You don't want anything to distract you or disrupt you or to disturb the energy that you are protecting, right? I put something on Facebook yesterday about self-love is an energy you want to protect.
That's good.
That's good.
Right?
That's
That
good.
is an energy you want to protect. And a lot of us are not protecting that because we are out here going, well, God says I need to serve, and I'm serving this one, and I'm serving that one, and I'm serving everybody on the planet. But you can't take time to step outside and listen to a bird chirp.
Yeah.
You don't have time to step
But
outside
when
and
you
look
say
across
it
the
like
room.
that, it sounds so crazy, Natasha,
But
that
it's
really you
real
can't.
life.
But but it's the reality of things. And I want you to kind of go back, Natasha, if you will, and break down the difference because sometimes in the name of boundaries, we say it's a boundary, but really it's a barrier.
Mhm.
You're creating barriers for people as punishment. You know how you say like, okay, well, it's a boundary, and so I'm gonna stop this, or you know how they say like say, and this just is what popped into my mind. But you know how they say sometimes people withdraw physical emotions or physical connection from somebody because you're upset or you don't like what they did, so you don't want to physically connect with them. That's not a boundary. That's the barrier
Barrier.
because the intention behind it is different. It's not to make you have more awareness and help you become a better person and help you to manage your things better. It's punishment for the other person. So the intention is different.
Yes. So you have rigid boundaries and porous boundaries. A rigid boundary is the all or nothing, and you're using
Mhm,
it as you're describing to punish someone. You want them to experience a consequence.
mhm,
So it's all or nothing. It's either you do it this way or you don't. It's either you're going to get
Mm.
this or you're not. Right?
Okay.
That is, you're absolutely right. It's not a boundary. It's a barrier. You are trying to control an outcome by being that rigid, and then you want to call it a boundary, and then you want to say that the boundary doesn't work or people abandon me as a result. Well,
right,
first of all,
right.
nobody says it has to, like, I can't tell you how many times with the work that I do and I teach about boundaries, and with families have loved ones who are in recovery that are coming back home, and the family's first response to me is, oh, so you want me to get a divorce, you want me to abandon them. And I go, no, that's not what a boundary is. I'm
Mm-hmm.
asking you to look at what it is you need. Now that you have this person in recovery coming home to live with you, you have to want to do things differently than you were doing it before.
Right.
Because if you go back doing the same thing you were doing before and expecting a different result, that's the definition of insanity,
It is.
right? I want
Mhm.
things to be different, but I'm not willing to change. It doesn't make sense. right? The porous boundary is where you say, I need you. I'm going to use this as an example because for some reason it came up in my head of, don't call me out my name, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then the person calls you out your name and you might get mad for a second, but you remain friends and you remain in the relationship, or you remain engaged with that person, right? What does that say? What does that say about you when you tell someone, don't call me out my name, and then they call you out your name, and you might get mad for a moment, but you go right back into having a relationship with that person? And I don't care what the relationship, and that comes right down to boyfriend and girlfriends and partners and whatever. If I tell you, don't call me out my name, don't call me out my name. And if you do, then we need to have a conversation of what this relationship is going to look like moving forward.
Yes.
Right? So you're negotiating. So that's a porous boundary, when you're negotiating with your own boundaries, right? You say one thing, but then you do another, or you say one thing and you don't even follow through. You don't even stand up or advocate for what you need, because now you're negotiating with the other person because you don't want the other person to be mad at you. You don't want the other person to leave you or abandon you. That's not a boundary.
So is that truly a standard of yours, or is that something? Because if it is, when they say stand on business, you have to stand on business if that's really what you believe. If somebody calls your bluff, you know how sometimes people will say things because they really want you to change. They don't really mean that they are upset and mad at you and they don't ever want to fool with you again and all that. Sometimes people just want your behavior to change. But that's like the little girl, girl with the little girl that cried wolf or whatever. You know, they say after so many times, people stop showing up because you keep
Well, no
saying
one's
this.
gonna. Yeah, no one's gonna.
They don't take you seriously.
Well, and so it comes back to respect. How many of us say, they don't respect me? You know what's the first thing that comes to mind the minute that somebody says that someone doesn't respect them? Do you respect yourself?
Mm-hmm.
Because if you don't respect you in what you say, what you do, how you carry yourself, and if you stand on your business or not, what is going to convince anybody else to respect you?
Yeah.
And
exactly.
That's everybody else. That's like if Sparkle says, well, you know what? I don't drink, so don't bring anything in my house. And then somebody brings something to her house and they get to drinking, and Sparkle don't really say anything. And so they was like, girl, I told you, girl. So somebody else, oh yeah, girl, you can bring some wine or whatever, girl. Sparkle, she don't drink, but we're gonna drink and we're gonna have a good time. And Sparkle over there, man, like I thought I told you or whatever. Girl, it's okay. Ain't nobody tearing up your stuff. Somebody tear it up, I'll pay for it. People will take something and run with it.
Sure. Because you're allowing it.
Versus saying, let me respect that. And oh no, she doesn't drink, so please don't bring anything over here for that. It's up to Sparkle to stand on it, but it's up to when she tells somebody to respect that and then make sure pass that along. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yes. So let me say this. The person might not respect it because there are just some people in this world that don't have boundaries and they're just intrusive, right?
Yes.
And so this just kind of comes back to where we have to just let people are going to be people. I can't change that person. So at the end of the day, it is my responsibility to make sure that I am advocating for what I need.
Yeah.
So if I have a friend that tells somebody, hey, Sparkle doesn't drink, please don't bring any alcohol in her house, and that person, that third party, still brings it anyway, Sparkle still has a responsibility to say, I'm sorry, either your booze goes or you go or both or whatever. Right?
Or whatever.
We don't let it slide.
Right.
No matter who it is.
It's like with parents and children. A lot of times you want to tell your child certain things and then, you want to be their friend. So you allow certain things. And after a while, the child is like, make up your mind.
You ain't said nothing now.
We've been doing this for so long. Why?
Yeah. So now you want to act brand new? We've been doing this the whole time.
Exactly. Now you got your boyfriend. Now you want to try to lay down the law. Girl, bye. Look, I'm still gonna do what I do. And that's really how it sets up anywhere that you go. You can see that from a parent-child, but you can't see it when it's in a male-female relationship, or you can't see it when it's in a business relationship. It's like we pick and choose how you're going to act here, but basically they say how you do one thing is how you do everything else. And that's just the reality of it. If you're not somebody who's organized and detail-oriented or whatever, here, 9 times out of 10, you may
when they go over the
overall.
So that's a really good point. I hear people say all the time, oh, I can do that. And I'm really good at that at work, or I'm really good at that at church, or I'm really good at that in a larger setting. then why aren't you doing it by yourself? Or why aren't you doing it at home? You can do it here. Why can't you do it here? Like, and I'll
because
give
I
an
get
example.
paid to do it. You know, you hear people say, I get paid to do it at
Yes,
home.
yes,
Like
yes.
at work, I get paid to be nice to people. But at home, I don't get paid for that. Like,
Yeah, I'll hear people say like, yeah, I'm really disciplined and I work really hard and I do X, Y, and Z. I'm going to say something and this is going to hurt. So brace yourselves. You're doing it at work because you're trying to impress somebody. Right? So you're being disciplined and you're being on top of things and you're overachieving and you're being a, overperformer, right? Because you want to please somebody. But as soon as you come home, you ain't doing that for yourself. Come on now. That doesn't make sense. And please do not tell me, because if I have to hear it one more time, two things I hear. Well, that's what God said I should do. Or that's what God wants me to do. Or because I'm a mother or because I'm a nurturer. That's just what we do. Okay. Let me say this. We got 8 minutes before the show's over. Before you go out there and start nurturing the world, how about you start nurturing yourself?
you. Yes.
Let's start there. Start small.
Yeah.
Nurturing starts at home. Look, let it start
Yes.
with you.
And guess who's gonna appreciate it? You are going. Once you start nurturing yourself, self is even gonna be like, "Ooh, I can breathe." Like you will start feeling and seeing a difference in yourself. That's just like mirror talk. If you keep on doing mirror talk and keep facing yourself and keep doing it over and over, you like, oh, I had a really good day today. Oh, today was really good because you made intentional to make it good. Difference is you get paid to do it at work. You think you can slack at home. You should give it the same effort. That's where I believe the what he said, a guy says about money. Money is the rule of all evil. So you are willing to, if somebody's paying you to do something, you're willing to do it for money, but you're not willing to love yourself enough that even if nobody pays me, I'm still going to do
my worth.
That now, because now you have put money on a high archer than yourself.
Well, that's because it goes back to the thing that you don't feel like you're worthy, honestly. And you're still in shock that somebody's paying you to do something that you don't even feel like you're good enough to really do. So you strive harder and harder and harder at work because you feel like in any minute they're gonna realize that I'm a fraud and I'm not as good as they think I am, and it's gonna be exposed or whatever. And so you're running, rushing, trying to get it done.
Yeah.
We got to take the time to love yourself more than the opinion that you want other people to have of you. If you want them to think a certain way about you, then you got to love yourself enough to become who you want to be, so that it's not a fake thing. It's an authentic version of yourself.
It's naturally.
And
like
natural. Stop putting it on God. Stop saying that God wants me to be a servant. Like, give me a break. Like, I'm going to call a spade a spade. Like, you know what I mean? God wants you to receive his love first. And if you can't receive God's love first, what are you genuinely giving to the world? Right? Yeah. I always think of this like bad fumes, right? Like you run the gas down in a car, right? And you barely have any gas. You might not be able to see it, but all you're exuding is fumes. Because there's barely any gas in the car.
And the
you
smell.
Because your representative is showing up, but that is not who you truly are. You're not genuine. You're disingenuous, actually, when you're presenting yourself as a person who is thoughtful and caring and all these things or whatever, and then you get it behind closed doors at your own house and you don't care about nobody doing anything. You just like whatever, and you don't even care about yourself to maintain self-care and to display self-love.
This is where we have a lot of hypocrites in the world. People don't like this word, but you out here telling people how they should live their lives. I cannot tell you how many therapists I know that want to tell people how to live their lives, and when you learn about how they live theirs, and you're like, what's happening right now? And I need everybody to hear me when I say this. This might sound like judgment. I am not judging, but we live in a world where we have to learn to practice what we preach.
Come on.
You can't be out here as a servant of the Lord and saying, well, you should do this and you should do that. And are you doing this? And are you doing that? And then, like you said, Angela, as soon as I get home and nobody can see me, I just go throw myself in a corner.
Everybody's head.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm
You know what
cussing
I
out
mean?
everybody who walked through, like everybody, because, but to me, what I have learned, because pretending, and I know this because I was a pretender, pretending takes so much effort. You
Ooh.
are exhausted after you have sit there and tried to pretend to be somebody that you are not. That is so exhausting and
Because
tiring.
because with that pretending, I am hiding what's really going on with me. So we come back to that emotional healing again. I'm just going to go ahead and push how I really feel to the side. God, I'm exhausted. God, I'm really sad. God, whatever. I'm going to go ahead and push that and God to the side because I'm too busy trying to impress somebody or want somebody to see how what perfect you
Yes.
are.
Yes.
You know what I
how,
mean?
how
So
successful you are. You know how many people are struggling to pay for things because you want the illusion of success. So you want them to know that, oh, I got a big house and I got a nice car and I got all this. And you're struggling and you're stressed out and you're one sneeze away from a heart attack because you put so much pressure on yourself to get out and
Did you
be
say what sneeze
excuse
away
me, my
from
heart attack.
be
She did.
one
I
sneeze
tried not
away.
so hard not to laugh at that, but I know because I know she was
That's
being
not funny.
silly.
what
Don't forget me, but
sneeze? Oh, if you sneeze, it's on and popping.
it's on
And
and
Yes.
popping. It's you
honestly, that
know,
is what
people are
pretending
different.
does feel like. If somebody pokes my, like, I'm pretend, look, I'm putting on this smile. I'm faking so hard. If you take a needle and you just barely, I'm going to expose.
So many people, it's the straw that breaks the camel's back. It's that one thing that sets everything else in motion because you have been on such a tightrope of trying to maintain the image of a good mother, a good worker, a good wife, a good friend, a good daughter, a good whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that good thing is that you're trying to become, it has not been a place where you feel and take joy. Maybe you started off being joyful about it. Now it's a chore, and now that chore gets
A
heavier and
chore.
heavier and heavier and heavier and
Yeah.
heavier. And you keep on going, you keep on going, you keep on going to one point. Your body is eventually going to be like, we didn't sign up for this, ma'am. And it will break you down, period.
I know that's right. As
And
Marie
as Marie said,
said,
all of which can be taken away in the blink of an eye. Don't be materialistically rich, but faithfully
faith,
poor.
but faithfully poor. Like that is real. And that was a good way to end it. Thank you, S. Marie. That was a good way
Yes, it
to
is.
end it right there. It's so much easier to just be you. People see you anyway. It, and Tina, I agree because this is the thing. When you are working to please somebody and you want to be their pleaser, it's never enough for them. They're gonna still want more and more and more and more. And you like, well, I went and got you coffee. They like, but I wanted a biscuit too.
Yeah, but there's another side of that because I'm not most people pleasers really aren't doing it for the other person,
No, they're doing it for
for themselves.
validation again.
That's self-validation, right?
Yeah.
It's I want to feel better about me. So there's a part of it where I'm pleasing other people and it will never be enough for them, but it's also never enough
Mhm.
for the person who's people pleasing
Yeah.
because your worth and value is very low. And if you don't learn on how to raise your vibration, if you don't learn on how to raise to know what your self-worth and self-value is, you're just going to continue people pleasing. So it's also never enough for you as well, right?
Right,
So the
Mm-hmm.
because
bottom
they
line
don't
is
give you
just
the right
never enough.
response. If Sparkle just,
Right.
if I'm running around bringing coffee for everybody and Sparkle say, oh, thank you, and she keep on working, I'm just like, girl, I done went and sat in this line for 22 minutes to get you a coffee, and all you got is, oh, thank you. I want you to be like, one thing about Angela, she gonna make sure do you know what I'm saying? You want to elicit a
You
certain
wanted it.
response.
You wanted a response from that
Yes,
coffee.
yes, yes, that part.
See,
This
that's
food that
led
I
into
thought
a
was me.
whole different. That's a whole different topic.
Right.
But today is the day to make a difference. Make a
Yeah.
difference in your boundary. Stand up for your boundary. Don't let somebody else. Well, because I like him, I'm gonna let him slide. No, your
Mhm.
boundary should still be your boundary, whether you like them you don't like
But
them.
think about that. Your boundary shows your worth in yourself. A man, a good, healthy, non-toxic man wants a woman who knows her worth and knows her value. And
Mhm.
so if you are diminishing your worth and value, what is the nonverbal message that you're sending to that man?
Yeah.
You're sending to him that you don't value yourself. So right out the gate, if you don't value you, why should he value you?
Yeah.
Because you say
Why?
so?
Because you don't even value yourself. So why should I?
Exactly.
I'm telling you, one of the things that I have learned, even in the dating world, when you stand for who you are, most men are not gonna like you.
Well, you will attract you will actually
You
attract a very different
something
kind of
different.
man.
Exactly.
Correct.
And the when the ones that do see your value, they're willing to say, "Oh, I can't treat her. Oh, I can't." They're willing to make adjustments
Absolutely.
because they see the value, and that's in any relationship. That's not just
Mhm.
romantically. That's in
Correct.
every ship. There's a difference between being pleasant person who genuinely does the things for the good with no expectation, that being a people pleaser looking for validation and that applause.
It starts with you, the person in the mirror. Absolutely.
And that's it, y'all. That's it. That's all. We're at the top of the hour. And we need to let you go so you can have this turnaround Tuesday that you deserve. You deserve this. Have a blessed day. I believe God. Do you believe God? We believe God. We believe God. Have a blessed one.
Bye.
Bye.